So first up today, I'm going to attempt to reseal this fuel pump and stop it from leaking. The plan at the moment is to disconnect the fuel pipes and then undo the screws clamping around the diaphragm, get those undone, and then I should be able to put some sealant on the underside and on the top side of the diaphragm and hopefully seal it up. We'll see how that goes. I've got the camera at a bit of a precarious angle, so I'm kind of hoping that's not going to fall off mid-shot. If it does, then I'll have to stop recording and then I'll start recording again once I've got something to show. So first up, I'm going to take these plug wires off. I've numbered them up already because who knows how long this job's going to take and I'm bound to forget. So they're off out of the way. I can kind of see what I'm looking at now. I think the fitting should be 1/2 inch AF. So undo those. I'm expecting some fuel to come out because it's only been a couple of weeks since I've run the car. So let's see. No, it's bone dry, and that's the one from the tank, so that's good. No mess. And then this is the one going to the carburetor. Let's get that one out. I think, for what it's worth, I'll undo the nut in the middle, or the bolt in the middle I should say. A bit of fuel coming out there, just draining back. Shan't lose any sleep over that. Okay, I'll go and get a spanner for the that middle nut and then I'll return. Okay, back again. It's a 3/8 AF. I'll undo that. Oh, hang on, we are leaking fuel. Excellent. Let's try and keep that high. Obviously the end of the hose had dropped down a bit and was draining out the tank. That's not good. So let's get on this. No, I say it's a 3/8, but that's certainly not going to go on there. Well, let's go for a 10mm instead. And back again. So here we go, it uses a 10mm. So obviously this is some form of pattern part. Guessing probably made in China for much cheapness. Let's get this out. There should be a filter underneath this, just a wire gauze of some description, and that might give some indication of how badly rusted internally the fuel tank is. That doesn't look too sad. So there's a few particles there, but nothing to lose sleep about. Right, let's go for undoing these screws and then get to the inners of the pump itself. How many of these do you think I'm going to drop? I've got the first one. According to a guy at work who's owned a Spitfire for forever, he was saying that unleaded fuel isn't very kind to these fuel pumps. It's the first I've heard about that, to be honest. I've had minis and other old classics over the years. I've never really had any issues running unleaded in the fuel systems, although it's possible that I haven't had the cars long enough to discover a problem. Come on. Got it. Excuse my sausage fingers. And just for reference, this isn't actually a how-to. There goes the light. This isn't going to be intended as a how-to video, how to do stuff. This is just a blog of what I'm doing, rightly or wrongly. But feel free to go hog wild in the comments. And this is the last one. So the top half of this pump should come away, and the diaphragm should be attached to the actual lever mechanism. Let's put that somewhere safe. Okay, so the diaphragm itself doesn't appear to be split in any way. I'll go and get a piece of rag, dry that off, and then I'll apply some sealant to both sides and then we'll sandwich it back together and see what we got. Okay, that's all dried off. Now this is going to be not a very neat and tidy job, but I'm going to try and put some sealant on both sides of that diaphragm. Obviously my hands are going to get in the way quite a lot. I'm going to put it onto the actual flange of the pump, because it'll be easier for me to see what areas I've done and what areas I haven't. In theory it shouldn't need any sealant because the rubber nature of the diaphragm should create a good enough seal, but certainly in this particular instance it wasn't, and the screws were as tight as I dared get them, seeing as they're only screwed into cast aluminium. There's only so far you can go with those. So this is really a belt and braces last attempt before giving up on this mechanical pump and going over to an electric one. This is where you need extra joints in all your limbs. Alright, almost on the first lap of the lower portion. Okay, that's got some sealant in all the right places, and quite possibly some of the wrong ones. So that's the diaphragm back down. I'll just apply some sealant to the underside at the top. So and there's the top of the pump. I'll just put some sealant around the perimeter of that flange and see whether it makes a blind bit of difference. I'm going slightly heavier with the sealant on this side. So in theory this is the fuel side. Nothing should get past and below the diaphragm unless it's actually ruptured. So this is the important side. Okay, that's on. Now, if anyone can remember which way it was pointing when it was put together, down by the fuel pipes, I'm going to say there. Okay, I'll wipe away that excess sealant before I put my arm in it. Okay, done. Time for the screws, get those back in, and then I've got no excuses for not attempting to fire this up. I'll do that in a separate video. I'll keep this one just about the fuel pump. Right, gradually nip them down. I have to sort out some background music for this video because I'm going to struggle to find stuff to talk about while I'm twiddling spanners and screwdrivers and the like, and I'm sure you'll get fed up of me whittering on about nothing in particular. So here we go. That one is as tight as I dare. There's the torch again. And that one's tight, so that's 2. And 3. Okay, happy with how tight they are. Let's get the top of the pump back on. And of course it is possible that it was actually weeping out of this joint, but it didn't seem to be when I was watching it run. So this one doesn't have a notch or any particular place for it to be, so it's going to be wherever it lines up. I'll do it up loosely for now, because I can get this pipe in, the one to the carburetor, it says. I'll tighten that up. And then I'll see about connecting the pipe from the tank. And that should give me a good indication of where that top cover needs to be pointing. Let's get this nice and tight. And once again, can't go too mad. Brass union going into an aluminium housing. It only needs to compress the olive as such, or the taper. So here we go, fuel pipe going in. That looks like a sensible enough angle. Nothing too stressful going on with the hose. So 10mm spanner again, tighten that top up. It's not easy doing jobs, trying to keep your hands out of the way, you know. Who knew? A socket and a ratchet wouldn't have gone too far amiss. Never mind. And we'll make do. And then what I'll do is I'll dry off the outside components of this pump as much as possible, and hopefully that will allow me to see if I've genuinely got rid of the fuel leakage. It wasn't massive, but it was certainly weeping and leaving a couple of drops on the garage floor, which is not ideal because you don't really want any fuel leakage. It should be completely sealed and fuel tight. That is as tight as I dare go, and it should be plenty to compress that rubber gasket. So before I forget, the last pipe, and it goes back to the fuel pump. Try and keep the spanner square onto the nut. And give this one a gentle tighten. One more, I think, and that is tight. So last thing to do while I'm in here, I'll give the priming lever a few pumps. There should still be fuel in the bowl of the carburetor, seeing as it wasn't that long ago that it was last run. So hopefully once the engine takes or catches, it should continue to run. That should be enough. Finish up, put my leads back on. Now they're all covered in sealant. Great. Number 4. And number 3. Okay, I'm going to call this video done, and we shall revisit that once I get the engine fired up, which I'll do as a separate video. Okay, this should be entertaining. I'm going to try starting the engine up. It hasn't been started for a couple of weeks. I don't have the throttle cable connected, so I have to try and operate that by hand. I have got the choke connected and that is out. We'll give it a go. I've primed the fuel pump, so hopefully there'll be some fuel there, and the battery should be in good condition. And my words of saying that it's a very good runner probably going to come and bite me now, so let's have a go at starting it. I'm going to call that fuel, so let's go and get some easy start. told you. Lack of fuel. Let's go and prime the fuel pump a couple more times, see if that will help. And another squirt, just for the hell of it. The ability not to be able to do the throttle at the same time. They must be on the fuel pump now. Hopefully that will settle down. I'll be able to take it off the choke gradually. There we go. Well, I'm going to suggest that fuel pump is either not working or the actual tank is empty. Let's go and investigate that. Okay, so for you that was instantaneous, but for me that was a bit of a nightmare. It turned out that I just wasn't getting any fuel coming through that pump. What had happened, I ended up stripping it apart. I probably should have filmed it, but the battery went flat on the camera. What had happened is one of the valves was stuck, so it wasn't passing any fuel through. So let's give it another try at starting it, and it might even go without the easy start now. Of course, it will go better if I connect the battery. So professional. Here we go. Oh, almost. Give that a little bit of choke. More choke. And there we go, so it is a runner. Not sure how good the sound's going to come out on the camera, but it is pretty sweet. I've also quietened it down a lot, so I've changed the rear silencer. I've got the photographs on my blog page, but there was basically a huge hole in the body of the silencer, so that's accounting for a lot of the noise. Without the air filter on, there's a bit of induction noise, so hopefully that will quieten down when I put the air filter back on. But for now, it's a runner. Vindicated. Also, just for the record, the fuel pump no longer appears to be weeping, which is very nice to see, but I will keep an eye on it over the next few runs, and we'll see how things progress. Next stop, I think, getting the brakes sorted, and then I can have a go at driving the car.